chew on this with Deborah and Ray. Obviously, I'm Ray.
I'm Deborah. And this is our friend Cheryl Barnes. We're so
Hi.
excited to have you here with
Welcome.
us.
Thank you so much, guys.
Cheryl's not only a good friend, we've known each other only 3 short years.
I know.
You know those people that you meet and they're friends forever? And then there are those people that you meet and they seem like they're friends forever? That's our friend Cheryl. And but she's also an amazing insurance. What are you? You're an insurance
I'm an insurance agent. Yeah.
Agent.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody who's actually excited and loves to talk about insurance. Not to sell you anything, but to make sure you're really covered and you have the best coverage that you can have. Whether, it doesn't matter who your regular insurance agent is, Cheryl can help answer your questions. So we wanted her to come on and share a little bit about her story, her passion, about why she loves insurance. And just before we get into that, we talked a little bit before about stress. And I don't know about you, but there's been times in our life when we've had an accident and it was very stressful for just that period of time. Did we have enough coverage? What was the coverage we had going to be sufficient to cover the accident? So I know that you can address some of that because you want to reduce all those things stressful, right? So you can't get rid of them, but if you can do things like take care and make sure you have the right insurance, that's
right. And one of the things insurance does is you pay the insurance company to take on that stress for you.
Oh.
And so if you can maintain it yourself, you can retain that risk yourself, or you can pay an insurance company to take on that stress for you. So we will insure you. And one of the things that I found is that when your insurance is in place, you have a lot less stress, especially if you own a business. And I know people who started a business without insurance, and it was so stressful for them not knowing that if they did have an accident, they knew they didn't have the coverage, and it caused them stress.
Insurance for businesses isn't required?
No, well, it is
Should
not.
be?
There's not. Yeah, the thing is,
No, we don't want to shit on anybody, but
in most cases there isn't an authority. If you're just an independent person doing a business, there isn't an authority over you to say, here's your risk and you need to be covered, so we're going to require you, like when you have a loan on a house or you have a loan on a car, they require you to have certain, at least minimal limits.
So God forbid if you have a problem, if you don't have insurance, it's kind of late.
Yeah, if you have a problem, it's too late. And that's where a lot of the stress comes from when you own a business, if you don't have the proper insurance in place. And I think I have seen it where the business owner has a glitch in their thinking. They're afraid to sell, or they're afraid to grow their business because they know they are missing a piece of that house, so to speak.
what does that look like? They're afraid to grow their business. How would insurance play a role in that?
Okay, so I would give you an example. I met somebody who has an entertainment business where they take groups of people out. She didn't have any insurance. She didn't have any liability insurance. And she was complaining because her business wasn't really growing. And it is my hypothesis that one of the reasons that she wasn't growing is because she knew she was risking a lot. She was risking everything she owned because they did not have the proper insurance in place. Now, I can tell you, once this girl got the proper insurance in place, her business grew. She felt more comfortable selling things, and so it's my belief that it was because that insurance was in place and she didn't have to feel scared. That was one little thing that we took that fear out of her way. And so what you want to do is you want to get with a professional insurance consultant that represents several different companies to find the right place for you. You don't want to have a lot of assets or a lot of risk and be in the wrong company, because then that would be bad also.
So you mentioned somebody that offers several insurance companies. So you do that. You kind of go in and make a plan of what each one covers?
That's right. So for each risk, there's
you're actually is there a difference between an insurance salesman and an agent, or you are a broker?
I'm a broker,
okay,
but I'm
broker.
considered an agent as well, or in Nevada I think we're called producers. But what I do is I consider myself
Yes, indeed.
I consider myself really a consultant. So anybody, no matter who they're insured with, can come to me or any other professional who's been doing it for a long time like I have and find out like if they're in a preferred company, if they're in a non-standard company, if they're in a standard company, because what you don't want to do is be in the wrong company and have, I've had people come to me with assets totaling several $100,000, but they had minimum limits of liability, which left those assets at risk. A personal injury attorney could actually go in and come after that.
So I remember you telling me a story one time about how you got involved in selling insurance. I love that story. Do you mind sharing it with
No,
the-
not at all. Thank you.
know which one I'm talking about?
I think so. About 25 years ago, now I've been in insurance for 24 years almost, but about 25 years ago, before I got into insurance, I had set my house on fire. And I had left something on the stove, and we lost 4 rooms because of this fire. And me and 11 children and my husband were all out on the driveway because the firemen were in there putting out our house fire. And we didn't know what to do at that point. We didn't have anybody to call. We did have insurance, but they're not open at midnight. So we all went back to bed, and we woke up in the morning after the firemen left and they put out the fire. We went back to bed because the bedrooms weren't hurt. But what we didn't know was we weren't supposed to stay in the house, but we didn't have anybody to tell us that. We breathed in the smoke and the soot and that wet soot in our air. We woke up with lungs hurting. All of the kids were in a lot of pain, and it was not a good situation. So what I do is I give, as you know, I give my customers, I'll get my cell phone number so they can reach me 24 hours a day. And I've been on site with claims at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, whatever needs to be. And I think that's a really important factor. And I do that because of that house fire when we didn't have anybody to call. And I don't want my customers to go through that.
Yeah. I can attest to the fact she's available. Sometimes a little too much. Did I say that out loud?
And it's nice that you are coming from personal experience, so you want to make sure that everybody's knows what's going on.
Yes. I'm going to be there to walk them through every step of the way. It's very good.
You've actually taken on a little bit of a new role recently as well.
That's right.
Because Cheryl is so good at what she does. You're really good at what you do. Other insurance agents reach out to you, and
They
so
do.
you've kind of expanded.
They find me on Facebook, which is a lot of fun, and what I've started doing now is teaching them how to grow their business the way that I've grown mine. And as you know, I can talk about that, right? As you know, we use a system called Send Out Cards, and it is an amazing system. I talk to agents just this last 6 months who spend thousands of dollars on buying leads that in a lot of cases just don't work. I've never heard of one case where those leads really work and help grow your business, but it costs a lot of money. And I'm sure there's cases where they're working out there, I don't know, but I've not heard of them. And so I started using the Send Out Cards thanks to our mutual friend Jordan Adler, and he taught me how to grow a business using the system. And now people reach out to me and I teach them how to do it. So we have weekly meetings at our office once a week, and then whenever anybody needs me, I go. And I teach them how to grow their business using the Send Out Cards marketing system. It's an inexpensive, low time consuming, it's an amazing system. So I'm very lucky, and I just love helping others. That's what I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So your information is on the bottom of the screen. However,
is, awesome.
just in case they missed that, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, they can reach me on my cell phone, 702-217-5816.
Don't call her at 3 a.m. unless you really need it.
Please don't. And then my email address is, of course, Cheryl@homebaseinsurance.com. Or you can
Now,
call them.
is it home based insurance spelled out, or is it abbreviated?
It's all spelled out. Homebaseinsurance.com.
Oh, because I think the one I have.
You might have my old one, homebaseins@gmail.com.
I don't.
Either
yes.
one is good. Either one is good.
Okay.
They still get me.
You can still get her.
Yeah. You can still get me.
We get you.
You do.
So, any other stories that you had that kind of stoke your fire as far as encouraging people to have insurance?
Well, I did have a lady who is an executive one of the hotel groups here in town, and she made a lot of money, and she bought a car 4 days later, had a really serious accident where unfortunately another person had gotten seriously insured, and we had just written an umbrella policy for her, and that's $1 million rider above and beyond the policies. The home and the auto are called an underlying policy, and then the umbrella is over that. And so thank God that we did have that in place, because she had a lot of assets and stood to lose quite a bit if she did not have.
How often are people underinsured because they think it's not worth the money?
Oh, I see it so often. Really, those liability limits need to be based on your assets, how much you stand to lose, and people don't do that. People shop for price. They just shop for price, and I have had it happen, and with a mutual friend of ours, where they didn't want to pay more, and they had a serious accident, and now they're really going through a lot because they have equity in a home, and they have some things that now they're dealing with because there was not enough insurance.
Just
Well,
taking care of your
else
health
insured,
is worth the cost, and so is being well covered insurance for
Yeah.
insurance.
it's a good way to reduce stress.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
That's true.
We've talked about that.
Thank you for being with us. Cheryl's gonna stick with us for the last segment while we talk about more about sleep. Actually,
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
So bear with us. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
We'll be back.